All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's take a look at section 3. We're going to be talking about the inauguration of Andrew Jackson. This is when he's sworn in as the seventh president of the United States in 1828. Let's take a look. We've got a picture here that shows Jackson's inauguration. Now, you're going to be doing this alone unless you find somebody to work with. But what I want you to do is find some interesting and unique details in this image. See if you can come up with 3 things that this image shows that might tell us something about Andrew Jackson's inauguration. A couple of things to think about, and hopefully that you noticed, was simply the amount of people at the inauguration. That was something that was new that hadn't happened in previous inaugurations, and that has a lot to do with the amount of common people that came in to try to meet Andrew Jackson or simply catch a glimpse of him because he essentially was their hero, and he was the man that they elected president in order to kind of represent the common man. You'll notice that there are some of the upper class there. They came to kind of witness the spectacle, and you see things with the horse jumping. That things got a little crazy. I mean, there was essentially it's almost turned into a riot. People coming and going from the White House. Andrew Jackson himself had to be, have his security get him out of the White House because it was getting so crazy. But that tells us a little something about Andrew Jackson's first day and really the amount of support that he had behind him. So what I want you to do is I want you to read through section 3. Now, you want to make sure that you actually do the reading because this is going to give you that information and those details that you need in order to be successful. So find section 3 in your chapter 14 ISN packet. And what you're going to be doing is you're going to be adding dialogue to the speech bubbles to reflect what the common people in the upper class might have felt about Andrew Jackson's inauguration. So put yourself in the shoes of a common person that may have been there, as well as an upper class person, and think about who are his supporters and what kind of response they would have versus those who oppose him, and what they might have to say about what they see. And then the second question is look for information that tells us what did President Jackson promised he would do to promote democracy, right? So look for some of those things that he promised to do at the beginning of uh, his presidential career. Welcome back. Hopefully you got through section 3 and read it okay. Let's take a look. And I'm just going to give you some possible scenarios here. And what you wrote down is if it's along the same lines, you're in good shape because we don't really know what the common people or upper class would say. But I'll give you an example nonetheless and see once where you line up. Common person, you come across this person, if you were to be interviewed by somebody, he might have said something like this: finally, one of us has been elected president. We have rescued the country from being taken over by the rich. So there was that sense of jubilee, that sense of victory for the common people, and that's really was a sentiment that they took with them, and that was felt by a lot of the common folks during this time period. Now we've got the upper class who might see it a little differently. So what did they think about Jackson's inauguration? Well, possibly they would have said things like, is Jackson really the best this country has to offer? He represents the uneducated commoners. Look how they behaved after his inauguration. So they have very little faith in Andrew Jackson and his ability to lead the country, coming from this kind of more of a humble background and having the common people be his supporters. So they were a little skeptical of his lack of education and things like that. And they thought, is this the right guy for the job? Then you've got the second question on there. How did he promise to promote democracy? And basically what he said was he wants to take the power away from the wealthy and give it over to the common people in the government. So we'll be seeing some of those kinds of things and some of the decisions throughout his presidential career that we'll see if he was able to keep that promise or not. So this is section 3. Make sure you got the reading done. Make sure you're double checking your notes, and you should be in good shape. So there's chapter 14, section 3. Thanks, ladies and gentlemen.